I have gone to so many media platforms, social media platforms, morally on TikTok and so forth. The news there is about South Africa. Many of my fellow Africans have gathered together to discuss about South Africa, the South Africans, the South African black people. South African black people are being called Afrophobic and xenophobia. But before we say that, I would like us Africans to do self-introspective. Let us look at ourselves. What have we done to South Africa? Some of the big names, like Fikile Mbalula, like Julius Malema, have taught you Africans to insult, undermine, degrade South Africans. You have called them lazy. You have called them people with a government that does not have laws and porous borders. If South Africa was having a war like the wall of Israel, today you'll be saying something else that South Africans don't like black people. They've built a wall and electrified that wall so that other African people from the neighboring countries cannot have an access to South Africa. If South Africa had a law to unalive Africans that have been arrested in South Africa in position of powder, go and check the records. How many African brothers whom were arrested in South Africa with the powder? If South Africa could have implemented the law like the law in China, like the law in Thailand, where they unalive such people, you are going to be saying something else about South Africa. You say is again the laws of South Africa do not work and they are lazy. You go to South Africa, you become an exploited laborer who does not meet a salary of the minimum wage in South Africa. Whereas a maid is about to be paid according to their minimum wage, around 4.5 to 5,000 rands. You go there, you are being paid 1,800 rands. And the South African who demands his right and knows his or her worth on his land, you call such a person lazy. But you are being exploited without any benefits in such a land of South Africa. My fellow Africans, we should be in a position to apologize to the South Africans. We can call them and in any names that we want. But we need to reach a point to say, we are sorry. If those laws that you are saying are not effective in South Africa, if they were being unleashed against the black people of Africa, you were going to say their laws are against the black Africans. You tell me today, you want a United States of Africa, but you insult somebody who is hosting you in his or her own land. You can't walk around Africa with a chest out and say, I'm a businessman in South Africa and I come from this other respective African country. But you're running a brothel in South Africa to a father with a 15-year-old daughter like myself. How am I going to feel that your other brothers and sisters have taken the jobs where they are being paid peanuts and not meeting the minimum wage? Now, as a South African father, I'm sitting at home unemployed because you have taken the exploitation from the employer. And now you're taking advantage of my own daughter into a brothel. And you recruit young children into powder. Again, you collaborate with some Pakistanis and Bangladeshis to manufacture some food in the garages. And you sell it to the communities of the South Africans. And after that, you insult them. You call them some names. In Zimbabwe, we don't have a road accident fund bill. For too long, I've been calling for the road accident fund bill to be passed. Minister of Transport Felix Mona is pushing that bill at a slow pace of a chameleon. None of you Zimbabweans ever stood up and say, we need a road accident fund bill. But when you're in South Africa, after having an accident there, you need that benefit. My fellow Africans, my fellow Zimbabweans, the anger that you have to say you would like to stay in South Africa and the rights that you are demanding in South Africa, bring them back home. Bring that anger home. bring those rights home and demand for those rights back at home. People like Julius Malema have misled you, my fellow Africans, when he said you can come to South Africa. Going to South Africa, who is going to build Zimbabwe? You can check most of the African countries, we are led by the corrupt leaders in our offices. Nobody is holding them to account. Nobody is demanding the share of our own mineral resources in those countries. We are leaving them in a sort of a heaven of corruption. I wish to say if we put our houses in order, we will be welcomed by South Africans as the neighboring visitors, as the neighboring cousins and brothers. But how do you say that you want to be treated in a South African hospital, but the hospital in Zimbabwe is charging you $6 per day just to be admitted on the bed, to pay for the bed? Giving birth, you know all the expenses. You know how is our roads. Why are you not fighting for that better infrastructure, for those better roads, and build Zimbabwe so that you can say, I need almost nothing in South Africa, none other than going to visit there and come back home because I fought to build Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe is looking better. Look at the situation in Democratic Republic of Congo. Look at the situation in Nigeria, the likes of Boko Haram. Look at the situation in Sudan, in Somalia. Look at those situations. Then tell me, if you fight to say, I don't want to leave South Africa, I would like to stay in South Africa, why can't you bring that South Africa home? Take that South Africa to Ethiopia. Take that South Africa to Zimbabwe. Build it in Zimbabwe. Have it in Zimbabwe. Fight for it, because no one is going to fight for it. Rather you die fighting for this Zimbabwe to be built by you, by holding the so-called leaders to account. How much money did we lose to corruption per annum in Zimbabwe? 2 billion, isn't it? Have you seen the wedding of the Zimbabwean elites? How they were gifting each other? Did you look at our hospitals? At our roads? Did you look at that? Who is going to hold them to account? But we've got enough power to insult the South Africans. We shouldn't be insulting them. I'm not in any position supporting violence. I'm supporting fairness and justice. We as Africans, we've got a duty to build our own respective countries by demanding that justice in our own respective countries. I have seen a Ghanaian who was embarrassed and humiliated in South Africa. What happened? The government officials of Ghana took note of that and said, oh, now we can take care of our citizen. Let us send him a flight ticket, come back home, here's accommodation, here's an empowerment, start a life than being embarrassed in South Africa. That means they have got the capabilities to take care of the citizens, only that they don't want. So the push in South Africa will be a grace in disguise. Let the South Africans deal with their matters. Let us leave them alone. Let them deal with their matters. Let us also focus on building our own countries. Not to tell the South Africans on how should they react, how should they do their laws. It's up to them to decide. If they feel the need of uniting with other Africans, they will say. If they feel the need not to do that, leave them alone. We have the countries to build. Why don't we focus on our countries and build our own respective countries and leave the South Africans alone?